All right. Thank you so much to Kevin Killer Kaminsky, head coach and general manager of the Laurent Ice Wolves. We're actually going to move right into our next interview now with a member of Movember, because the SJHL and Movember are teaming up this November, say that 10 times fast, to really get behind a really great cause. And we're going to bring in Todd Minerson now of the Movember campaign. And Todd, thanks so much for joining us today.
So glad to be here, Clark. Thanks for all you're doing for men's health.
Absolutely. Of course, this is actually, Todd, the first time that I've participated in Movember specifically with a mustache. I've done no-shave Novembers for years, but that's easy. I decided this year to challenge myself a little bit with the actual mustache. So sorry to everybody who has to look at this all month, but I don't think it looks too bad. I think I got a little bit of Travis Kelce going on. Don't tell anyone I said that, but Todd.
I see it.
Yeah?
I got the Kelce vibe for sure. Yeah, there it is.
There we go. Todd, how did you get started with Movember? And maybe just tell us a little bit about the origins of Movember itself as well.
Yeah, thanks, Clark. So I've been the country director for Movember for 5 years now. And in Movember time, that's actually 6 campaigns. So in that time, we've raised probably $120 million for men's health. We get about 50,000 Canadians every year who participate in our effort to raise funds and awareness for all kinds of different men's health issues. I know we're going to dig into that a little bit later. And actually, Movember is a global phenomenon as well. So it started about 21 years ago in Australia. A couple dudes hanging out together saying, wouldn't it be fun to grow a mustache? Wouldn't it be fun to do something good with that? And that first year, they got about 30 guys. They raised about $40,000 and really, honestly, couldn't find a place to take the money afterwards. And they finally hooked into the Prostate Cancer Foundation in Australia, said, we want to support men's health. We grew mustaches for the month, begged for money from our friends. And the Prostate Cancer Foundation in Australia took the check and said, thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a good life. And they're like, no, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We can get this going into a global movement. And, now 21 years later, 350,000 people a year, over 60 countries all across the planet, where people are growing mustaches, making fitness commitments, hosting events, and, all for the cause of men's health. So it's been a pretty remarkable ride so far.
Now, my understanding is that there's kind of 3 pillars to Movember. Can you go into that?
Yeah, that legacy pillar of prostate cancer and really understanding what is the most immediate thing that we can do to help men's health. And so for that 20 years, we've been working on prostate cancer research, support programs, initiatives that are helping men live longer lives, because 1 in 8 Canadian men are going to get a prostate cancer diagnosis in their lifetime. And that's an astounding number of men, but also of families, of coworkers, of friends, of children, of partners that are going to be impacted by that disease. So prostate cancer is our kind of legacy origin area, and it's something that we're really, really passionate and committed to. And when we started to ask the question about what else can we be working on, we obviously moved into testicular cancer as well, that being the number 1 cancer for young men in this country between 18 and 35. Also a cancer that is really remarkable survival rates if we catch it early enough. So a lot of our work around testicular cancer is just helping young guys understand the risk and how to take action if they notice something is wrong. And then probably the biggest change, for Movember, Clark, in the last 10 years has been adding mental health and suicide prevention as a men's health issue to our work. And that's become really critically important in how we're trying to help men live longer lives.
Yeah, and a big reason that I know that we wanted to get involved is because last year, one of the members of the Flin Flon Bombers here in the SJHL, Matt Egan, actually got testicular cancer and battled his way through that and actually came back and played at the end of the year. So super awesome cause, and I know it has a lot of meaning to us. And specifically here at IKS Media, which is where we're doing this show here today, one of our coworkers here, Kelly Lewick, who's He's a local legend in terms of Movember. He wanted to get involved with Movember this year from the SJHL's perspective, just because we do so much work with them. And he inspired us to set up a league-wide challenge for all of the teams. So how did your team help Kelly and all of us here at the SJHL bring this idea to life? And what do you hope to achieve by getting these teams involved?
Well, listen, Kelly's not just a Saskatchewan legend. He's a Movember legend as well. We have an awesome crew out there in Saskatchewan that's really been leading the charge over the last couple of years. And from this kind of initiative with the SJHL to hot wings eating competitions and live shave downs on the news. There's an amazing community there in Saskatchewan that's really working for the cause. But one of the cool things about like partnering with the SJHL is the number of young men that you reach and the number of young men that you're working with. And the journey for good health for men starts at an early age. And unfortunately, not a lot of guys like maybe your age, my age, have had great role models in that way, have, been told it's okay to ask for help, to check in on themselves, to look after their mental health, and to know what their risks are for different kinds of cancers or mental health issues. So, partnering with a hockey league like the SGHL is just a phenomenal way to get out there to a lot of young men at once. But also, a big part of Movember is having fun and doing good. So there's an element of friendly competition. There's an element of, if you can do that, then we can do it better. And it just lends itself to, a really productive way to share the message and also, I think, raise a lot of money because I know you guys are crushing it already. So
Yeah, well, I was going to say, speaking of friendly competition, we have a leaderboard for the teams and the staff across the league. So let's have a look at that now, where we sit today. Now, this number that you're seeing today, Todd, is not actually accurate because there's one team that just kind of set up their page a little incorrectly. So we're actually going to get that added in. The Larange Ice Wolves have added another $700 to this total. So we're looking at about $4,500 across the league, and we're just getting started on this. So very exciting start. The Weyburn Red Wings off to a hot start. They got a $1,000 donation. We'll get into that in a minute. Melfort Mustangs off to a really great start, and you see some of the other teams as well trickling in, and some of these teams are just getting started as well. So it's exciting to see the league getting involved in this, and I guess from the SJHL's perspective, we actually have a bit of a mission with this as well. We can put that up on the screen, and I'll just kind of go through it, Todd, with you as we go here. But the Movember mission for the SJHL is we're proud to launch a Movember challenge within our hockey league to raise awareness for men's health. Our community is committed to making a meaningful impact by standing together for men's mental health, testicular cancer, prostate cancer, and suicide prevention. By growing together and supporting each other, we aim to change the face of men's health one conversation at a time, one contribution at a time. So, Todd, a lot of what you just said, we're echoing that among ourselves as well. And with our show reaching across Saskatchewan and, into parts of Manitoba as well, with Flin Flon being involved there in Manitoba, and we get viewers from across the prairies, really. How is Movember planning to engage in youth sport? I know this is something that's coming up a lot recently with you guys.
Yeah, that's really a great question, Clark, because, one of the things that is happening now is, as I mentioned, we're kind of 20 years into Movember. And our board of directors said, 20 years is awesome, but it's not going to be like a birthday cake and balloon celebration. What we're actually going to do is challenge you to understand what's next. What can we do next for that next 20 years of men's health? When the mission is simple, how do you help guys live longer, healthier, happier lives? And so after, about 18 months of work of really trying to dissect where we need to be and how we can be most effective, one of the places that emerged was engaging young men through sport. And understanding that has a couple of really important aspects to it. One, young men in particular are most likely to experience their first episode of poor mental health between the age of 18 and 24. And if we can help them understand that there's help available, that it's okay to be not okay, that, it's okay to deal with this and trying to find healthy ways to manage it at an early age, it sets them up for success for the rest of their life in dealing with mental health challenges. So that's one reason why we're going after young men, and we're trying to get that message to them early. And when we look at where are young men at, obviously not every young man plays sports, but a lot of young guys are really interested in sports. It's a way to get engaged. It's not as like shake your finger, naggy reminder kind of stuff as it can be in other spaces. It can be, how do you improve your performance? How do you improve your health? How does your team function well together? How do you support each other? So there's a lot of overlapping, like really great messages in sport, and where we can get kind of captive attention of not only young men, but coaches and parents and other athletes to help spread some of those messages. So yeah, we just held a national convening in Calgary to help understand the best ways that we can work in the field of sports, youth, and mental health. And we're having a second convening in Toronto in January. We're really excited to see where that work goes.
Yeah, and just speaking from my experience too, Todd, I mean, over the years I've been involved in coaching. I've been a player myself in different sports over the years, and it's definitely changed a lot. I know that there is a movement, of acceptance and understanding and all that stuff, but it can always get better. So I think this is a huge opportunity for Movember to get involved and really, push that conversation to the next level. And that's what we're trying to do here is just start conversations, if I'm not mistaken. Speaking of conversations, Todd, let's talk about you a little bit.
Yeah.
What's your origin story, Todd? How did you get involved in this to start? Was there something that maybe pushed you to really become a bigger part of this than you maybe started out? You're now a pretty high up executive, I'll say, in the organization. So how did you get to where you are today?
I'm an executive with a scraggly mustache and a
Yeah,
Movember hoodie, which is one thing I love about this job and this place to work. There really is an element of having fun and doing good. And it's one of the only jobs I've had in my life where I can be really authentic to myself. I can talk about my own challenges, my own struggles. And I know that every day I come to work, I'm working on making the world a better place for men and boys in our health. But in terms of my background, I'm a Toronto kid and I have kind of worked most of my life in the nonprofit world. A lot of that time with men and boys in different ways, with homeless men and with youth in transition, and also working around gender-based violence prevention, but trying to understand how to help men and boys be better allies to women, to work towards gender equality. And so when the folks from Movember reached out about this role, I was like, come on, they're not serious enough for me. I'm a salty activist. I want to make the world a better place. That's just those mustachioed party boys. And I couldn't have been more wrong, and I couldn't have been more happy to be more wrong when I started to understand all the sophistication and research and effort we put into the work that we do for men's health. And it's nothing but a source of pride for me now to be part of this organization. And I got an 18-year-old son as well, so he's a little bit follically challenged, but his heart is in it for sure too, and that gives me a good reason to kind of go on and do this work every day in addition to my own personal motivations.
yeah. Trust me, we work in a junior hockey league where half the league is 18, and they all have their own challenges. Let's leave it at that with the mustache growing game. But that's okay. They're trying. A lot of them are trying. We were just at myself and my coworker here, Jamie Neugebauer, who's just off camera. We were just at an all-star event with a lot of 17, 18-year-olds. Majority of the players were, and you could tell that they're trying. But you know what? It's all in good fun. It's all for a great cause, and I think they're having fun with it as well. We have one donor that we just wanted to point out, and earlier when we showed the leaderboard, I mentioned the Weyburn Red Wings were off to a really hot start. They actually got a $1,000 donation, Todd, and this is from a man named Tyler in the Weyburn area, and he said this was his quote on the donation. As someone who has personally faced the challenges of testicular cancer and undergone an orchiectomy, did I say that correctly?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Wow, there you go. That's a test for Thursday afternoon. I am committed to supporting Movember and raising awareness for men's health. This cause is incredibly important to me. This discussion with other local men willing to speak about their experience was and has been the greatest support, and I hope my donation can inspire others to contribute and support this vital initiative. So huge shout out to Tyler. And I hope we can maybe actually get him in a conversation at some point throughout the month of November as well, to maybe hear a little bit more about his story. And like I said, we had a player last year who was involved in that kind of stuff as well, and he was able to get through that and come back and play, which I think was probably our best story last year. It was unbelievable to see his resilience. But Todd, there's more than one way to get involved. So let's end this now. The last one for you here is just how can people get involved? Because I know there's multiple ways you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely, Clark. And kudos to all the 17, 18-year-old. There's no such thing as a bad mustache this time of year. There's no such thing. But yeah, there are lots of ways you can get involved. We know not everybody can, wants to, or partners will let them grow a mustache. So we've got a lot of different ways. You can obviously sign up and grow. You have an option to do what we call a move commitment, which is make a physical fitness challenge to yourself and stick to it for the month. Sometimes we suggest move 60 kilometers over that month, and that represents the one man we lose every hour of every day to suicide. Sorry, every minute of every hour of every day to suicide. But that can be something you do on a bike or running or walking or swimming or whatever your fitness regime is. You can also host an event. You can have a workplace challenge. You can even mow your own way. I'm in too many hot wing eating competitions this month to count. So I got to really dial back on that. But you can knit a 40-foot scarf. You can climb Mount Everest on your stair climber. Like, the passion and commitment and kind of creativity of the Movember community in this country is just something that is magical about this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we talked about Kelly Lewick earlier. He's involved in a hot wing challenge, and he did it last year. And I remember talking to him about it. And I've done a hot wing challenge or two in my day, and I said, "Get me in," but I haven't got the invite yet, Kelly. So I don't know. We'll see about that. But you know what? There are ways to get involved directly with the SJHL's campaign. Let's put that up now, because I know we have a bit of a call to action for our viewers who are watching and listening to this. You can sign up today, Movember.com or Movember.ca. The SJHL has a specific page with all of the teams as well as the staff. Please donate to the staff. We're trying to beat these teams. They're going to catch up really quick, the ones who are behind us at the moment. But if you're watching on a computer right now, you can scan that QR code with your phone. It'll take you right to where you need to be. Or search up SJHL on that Movember website, and you can get involved that way as well. So Todd, big thank you today for joining us and kind of spreading the word and spreading awareness. And we're going to keep going and see how high we can make this thing go.
Yeah, thank you, Clark. And thanks to everybody in Saskatchewan. I saw the Broncos logo up there earlier too, and we've done some awesome work with Ty Smith in the past. And of course, you can't forget the pride of Kelvington, Saskatchewan, the godfather of all mustaches, Wendell Clark. Just gives me the tingles to even say his name in this time of year.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a legend. Actually, speaking of him, me and Nugsy, we just went to Wendell Clark's restaurant in Saskatoon after the event I was just telling you about. So we saw his mustache. He wasn't there, but we saw he's plastered all over the walls. We saw it for
everywhere.
Sure. He's everywhere.
Yeah, it was everywhere.
Todd, thank you so much. And we'll make sure we keep you updated on everything that's going on with us here.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, and really appreciate all the effort, to help us improve men's health.